If I may quickly ask a quick question here, there were reports at the time, and for a lot of Nigeria, reports which went to the National Assembly, there have been criticism and advocacy about the probe of the power sector, and in fact, it's been said that about 11 trillion naira has been embezzled in the power sector over the space of about 20 years or so. A lot of Nigerians perhaps will not want to be bothered about who stole what or who stole what or who embezzled what and under which administration. The question would be, where is the power? Which is a major question here on the table. But the question is, are you afraid, or are you thinking, or are you saying that the present administration should not probe whatever has happened under the Obasanjo administration?
No, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm trying to do, and this is very important, is to put the facts out there because many people are simply not aware of what those facts are. And if I may continue, the fact is this. Obasanjo spent 3.4 billion US dollars, and he generated a lot of power, an optimum amount of power over that period. We've hardly got there since. Now, what did he use that money for? He bought gas turbines, 18 of them, which arrived 2 days after he left office. He also set up a whole load of integrated power projects and so on and so forth. And the fact of the matter is that those projects were killed when Yar'Adua came in. The gas turbines were left to rot at the ports. They were not allowed to be brought into the country, and they were just stuck there simply because they wanted to discredit Obasanjo. And that's the saddest aspect. If those turbines had come in, and if things had continued the way they were going when Obasanjo left, we would have had 10,000 megawatts being generated per day within a matter of 1 year or so, 2 years after Obasanjo left. But the Yar'Adua administration refused to do that simply to spite Obasanjo. And what happened next? Tanimu Yakubu, who was working for President Yar'Adua, now came up with this strange figure of 16 billion US dollars, communicated it to the president at that time. And Yar'Adua, in my view, erroneously, and I suspect that he contrived it, in order again to discredit Obasanjo, came out with this figure and said that's what President Obasanjo had spent over the period of time, and there was nothing to show for it. Immediately he did that, his special advisor on power, a gentleman by the name of Engineer Shomolu, wrote an internal memo telling the president that he got it completely wrong. Obasanjo only spent X amount. Obasanjo did exceptionally well, and he needs to find a way to track that.
Let's put some figures.
What did Yar'Adua do? He fired Shomolu.
Let's put some figures now, and perhaps I should correct, because if you're talking about figures and fact, we must be able to substantiate. You are talking about the present generation of power supply. From the figures that is available to us, it is said that the transmission grid capacity has been expanded from 5,000 megawatts to 7,215 megawatts as of December 2017. That is the figures that are available to us, that we must put that correctly. And let me quickly put this to you. And are you aware, Chief Fani-Kayode, that there was a report which shows that the Obasanjo's administration, and I quote the report right now, which says that the administration under Obasanjo spent 10 billion US dollars on NIPP, with no result in terms of increase in power generation. $13 billion was also expended on power sector in 8 years, while unfunded commitments amounted to 12 billion US dollars. The report went further to say the federal government then budgeted a whopping 16 billion for the various reforms under Liel Imoke from 2003 to 2007, which went down the drains as it failed to generate the needed amount of electricity or meet the set goals. The report went further, and I quote, it says Imoke was alleged to have personally collected a sum of 7.8 billion US dollars for the execution of the contract for the construction of the Jos Yola transmission line, which was never executed. These are reports that are there, that have not been taken up. Are you saying that you are not aware of some of these reports, or former President Obasanjo is also not aware of some of these reports, which are independent of the present government?
Well, if you can let me look at this, and because you've spent so much time on these allegations, I can allege that you, Shehu, are wearing pink ladies' underwear right now. It doesn't mean to say it's true. And I will put it to you again, I was trying to be very analytical and very careful to stick to the issues that were raised, the 16 billion US dollars allegedly. And what I'm trying to tell you is this matter was probed no less than 4 times over a period of time. It was probed under Yaradua by the National Assembly at the time, that is the House of Reps under Dimeji Bankole, committee led by Elumelu. When it was probed, and of course it was a witch hunt on Obasanjo at the time, it was very clear when Lili Mokwe went there, he explained the situation, the whole thing died, they were not indicted, Obasanjo was not indicted, he was cleared. After that, Jonathan came into power. Jonathan set up a commission of inquiry, a very powerful one, comprising of members of Central Bank, comprising of one governor per each zone, from each zone, led by Suswan. They probed the whole thing, Obasanjo was cleared. After that, came the Aminu Tambuwal-led committee, another House of Reps committee, probed this 16 billion allegation. Again, Obasanjo was cleared. Then the EFCC itself, under Lamode, probed it extensively. Again, Obasanjo was cleared. So all these things you keep talking about, these wild allegations, saying things that simply make no sense at all. This government thrives on destroying the reputation and name of other people. That's all they do. They sit back and do nothing. You now said we're generating 7,000 megawatts per day. That is absolute hogwash. You know that, I know that. Most importantly, the Nigerian people know that. We're nowhere near that in this country. This government thrives on propaganda and lies. We all know that. That's all they do. And I would urge them strongly to accept and understand one thing. They will not be in power forever. If it is true that Obasanjo committed those atrocities, or Leo committed those atrocities, why on earth have they not been arrested up till now? They ought to have been arrested.
Chief Fani-Kayode, those are very strong words you're using there. When a journalist, as I am, is on TV, will put the figures and the facts out there. Those are not my words. That's a report. That's the figures that we have, and that's what we're putting to you. Thank you so much, Chief Fani-Kayode, for your time on the program tonight. A former Minister of Aviation, thank you so much for talking to us. Up next on the program, 3 years of APC-led federal government, 264 days to the next decision time. Are the initial promises kept? What better time to take stock? That's next on the program, everyone. Join us again.